Silence your phone.
Or get ready for ACDC coming.
It'd be at 7:30, but I turned that one off right away.
Call this time.
He says the copy of the superintendent and the thing for Benny Hill.
Lickety splits?
Yakety sax.
We are going to call the Novi Board of Education regular meeting to order. Tonight is Thursday, May 18th. If we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on our agenda, we have the taxation public hearing, the 2023 tax millage levy. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Micah.
Thank you. So the state of Michigan requires that all school districts in the state provide the community with a public hearing on the tax levy millage or the tax millage levy for the upcoming year. There's a program, there's a form called the L4029, which kind of outlines our millage rates. And so we're going to allow Mr. Kling to speak a few words, and I think he's got a couple slides on, our L4029.
Yeah, thank you. So every year, school districts have to have really two public hearings. One is for your tax levy for the following year, and then also your budget for the upcoming year. So normally, I believe in the past, we've done that all in the same meeting in June. We kind of moved the truth and taxation part of the hearing to May, mostly to work with the local municipalities. They need those figures ahead of time. And when we do that in mid-June, it's really tight on their schedule to get it through. So tonight I'm going to do a quick overview of our L4029, which is the form we use to submit our millage rates. We did an extensive dive deep into this subject at the Finance Committee meeting. So this will just be a couple quick slides. One, kind of showing what our property values in our district in Novi and Wixom have done over the year, and then also kind of seeing last year's L4029 and the draft L4029 for tonight that you have on your action item. So, I don't know if we have the presentation ready.
I think that presentation is, Ms. Holly, do we have that?
Yeah. Oh.
Flipping over. There we go.
Very short. Okay. So this is kind of
Not clicking,
not clicking. Should I go up there?
maybe.
Might be off.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
My fault.
Operator error.
Operator error. Didn't even know there was an on button. Okay. So this is gonna be a quick presentation. Like I said, we're gonna just review kind of what our overall taxable values did over the last year, and then kind of review last year's L4029, look at the draft for this year, and kind of I'll kind of explain the differences. So our non-homestead, as you can see, went up about 6.9%. Year over year, and also all properties, the second bulletin, also went up just about 6% year over year. So you're seeing that consistent. And again, that's going to be your Novi and the part of Wixom that is under our school district. And so how does that play into our L4029? Well, there's multiple different. I'll just go to the next one. So this is our L4029. So this is what we submit every year. This was last year's L4029. It's really hard to see, but there's different kind of buckets of revenue that we receive from our tax revenue. So we have our operating, we have our debt, we have our recreation, we have a sinking fund. And so they all play on different types of property. And so it's important to kind of have a gauge on what the overall property taxes are doing, so you can then estimate what your revenue is going to be. So year over year, we didn't see, so that's last year's, this is this year's L 4029. Year over year, we didn't see much change. In fact, from a millage standpoint, there was no change, there was no heavy rollbacks this year. The only change that we saw was on the hold harmless rate, which naturally changes every year with both state guidance and the increased taxable values. So the second line down is our hold harmless millage rate. You'll see that changed year over year slightly, but that's about it. But this is something that again we have a public hearing on. We vote on every year, and this helps our municipalities for the following year collect those local revenues, so we have them both in time for our summer and winter collections.
Great. So I want to thank you, Devin. I know that you spent a lot of time with the Finance Committee, even just 10 days ago or so, and went over in great detail. You answered some board questions, you sent out some information about just kind of an overview. So if any of the board members have any questions, we are not going to vote on this until in the action items. This is the public hearing portion, so we will open the public hearing, and if anyone in the audience or any public have any concerns, comments, or questions only specific to this, you can go up to the microphone and ask that question, and then if nothing is brought forward, the public hearing will be closed and we'll move on and have this as an action item later in our agenda. Seeing no comments or questions, you can go up there, Mr. Peck.
All right, quick question, just because I think it was the last meeting, we were talking about increasing the millage rate for non-homesteads to get to 18 mills, and I'm still seeing 17 here. Is that a separate decision, or is that part of this?
Yeah, I can take it. So in August, we're gonna be going out to the community and asking them to allow us to restore our non-homestead millage back to 18. So at that time, what you'll see next year is that we'll be able to levy back to that 18 mills, the full 18 mills.
Okay, so this gets filed first, and then that.
That's exactly right.
Alright.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yep, and there's a section on the L 4020 where it shows you when that was actually voted on and approved. And so this form would get updated if it passes in August.
Would that take effect for this coming year then? If it
If
passes in August, would it start immediately or when does that start?
it would, yes, yeah, we would be able to collect those revenues that we were missing out in next year, if it passes in August.
Thank you. Any other audience members that have any comments or anything that they would like to know before we close the public hearing on this? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. This will come back to the board in action items later in our agenda. Thank you, Mr. Clay and Mr. Micah, for all the work you've done on helping the board understand the belabored details on this. We are gonna move to approval of our agenda. If I can get a recommendation. Any of my,
Motion to approve agenda as presented?
do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Mena and supported by Mrs. Bodwine. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 7-0. We will move to the student board member report, and first I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Micah so that he can introduce our new student board member.
Thank you so much. At our last board meeting, you had the opportunity to hear from Jennifer Rajesh, who's gonna be with us tonight. She is our new student board representative, and I know she's got a lot to share, so this will be an ongoing item on our agenda for her to be able to update us, and I think she's got a lot she wants to share about what her plans are for the position. So Jennifer.
Hi everybody. As you may know, spring is a very busy season in the Novi community, so I wanted to start by sharing some positive things that have happened around the community. To start with, in the elementary schools, they are in preparation for their family picnics, specifically the family picnic at Novi Woods and the multicultural night at Village Oaks. And Novi Woods had their Poetry in the Park recently. For Novi Meadows, the 6th grade had their vocal and band concerts, and they had the geographically spelling bee, so congrats to everyone that participated. For the Novi Middle School, you can look forward to their band and orchestra concerts starting next week. At the Novi High School, as you may know, AP exams are over, so congratulations to anyone who took those exams, and hopefully your hard work will pay off soon. And congratulations to all of those who have had their sports as they come to a closing season. Congrats to the girls lacrosse teams for their win against Plymouth and Northville, as well as for the girls varsity tennis team as they compete at regionals tomorrow. For our class of 2023, we've recently had our local scholarship breakfast in April, and we've had signing day for our seniors in sports, and we will have our last day for the seniors starting next week. For the Novi Choir, they've recently had their last concert, the spring concert, on Tuesday, May 6th, and the Novi Incubators finished selling at their Ship to Thrift shop. So Ship to Thrift is a thrift store at the Novi High School to promote sustainable fast fashion, and they've recently made over $500 in sales that they are going to donate to the Haven Shelter, as well as extra donations that they will donate for the Purple Hearts. In addition to positive things, I wanted to talk about this role and what can you expect from me in the future. Mainly, I want this role to be a way for me to communicate with the board, with student life that's going on around the community, but also for a way for the board so that you can communicate with me about like any changes or rules and regulations you'd like me to communicate directly to the students. So in future meetings, I will work on creating a plan to reach out to more students in the community, such as connecting with Mr. Minka's advisory board, connecting with George Sipple, who's our supervisor in communications and community engagement, and the elementary school principals. Thank you.
Great job, Jennifer. I think that we're done. The meeting's over. You did a really great job, and I know you're busy right now. I just had the opportunity to run into Jennifer over at OSTC before this meeting. She was there getting ready for next year, and I was there with my son. So she is all over town, and we are delighted to have her sit here and be a student representative. So thank you. We are going to move on to our celebrations. Our first celebration is Outstanding Support Person of the Year. I'll turn it over to Mr. Micah.
So this is a really exciting opportunity to recognize one of our tireless workers, and I know she's got family here with us today, but I know that Mr. Francis is here, but I'd also like to ask that Dr. Carino just come up, and this is an award that she's worked very hard on, so I'll ask Dr. Carino to come up and recognize our recipient.
Thank you. A few weeks ago, we had the wonderful opportunity to go to Deerfield and surprise our Outstanding Support Person of the Year, Michelle Single from Deerfield. So everybody give her a round of applause. Quite a few applications and nominations, and so it was incredibly hard to choose. But once we read the wonderful words that were written about her, we knew that we had to pick you. So I'm just going to read just a couple snippets so that you can see how outstanding she is. Michelle takes the time to build relationships with her students. She makes sure they feel safe and loved. The students know they can count on patience and kindness from her. Michelle supports all staff and students throughout the building. If she is needed, she will be there. It is incredible how Michelle has helped some of our students with very diverse needs to get back on track, especially students who require extreme behavior support and intervention. Michelle is always willing to help out in any capacity. She is happy to help out with students who need a little extra, whether it is time in the sensory room, breaks, or help with academics. She is always ready to lend a hand when someone needs her. It is incredible how she gives students a just right amount of support. Daily, she provides students with the tools and reinforcement that they need to be successful in the classroom. Without fail, Michelle steps in yet, with her firm yet caring manner to help students manage their emotions and get back to learning. She knows her students well and works hard to connect with them. She is the best paraprofessional I have ever had the pleasure of working with. So tonight, we would like to honor Michelle with the Outstanding Support Person of the Year award.
I look good on paper. There's just a few people I want to introduce you to. The love of my life, my husband, of 39 years, Brian. My son, Derek. And my daughter, who's joining us via FaceTime. She lives in Miami, Jessica. They are the reason why I breathe. My best friend, Tracy. We've been best friends for 55 years. And better than that, she's like the sister I got to choose. My bonus best friend, her husband, Cam. My nephew, Joshua. And the very littlest love of my life, my great-nephew, Owen, back there. And I want to give a special, heartfelt thank you to the second grade team who nominated me. It's an honor to have worked with you this year. Your love and support means everything to me. And I want to thank all of the teachers that are here today to support me, surprised me, and made me cry. I worked with all of them, and they're all just, I'm blessed. And I just want to say, it's a little easier to be outstanding at my job when I'm surrounded by outstanding people. I'm just so appreciative that I get to work with the teachers and the staff and Mr. Francis, our principal, who all focus on collaboration and working as a team to meet the needs of all of our students. I'm very fortunate to be a part of the staff at Deerfield, and thank you so much for this award and recognition. Thank you.
Congratulations, Michelle. If that is just an inkling of how much you're loved by the adults that surround you, I can't imagine the impact that you make on your students every day. So thank you for being here with your adored family and friends, and we are happy to have you here with us at Novi. We're very lucky, so thank you. We will move on to our second opportunity for celebrations, which is the CPAC Above and Beyond recipients, and I'll turn this over to Mr. Micah.
Thank you. So we have our Parent Advisory Committee for Special Education, the CPAC Board. Every year they come around and they provide above and beyond recipients with a tremendous honor. And Mr. Cook has been involved with this in the past, and I believe he is going to tell a little bit about the awards and who the nominees are and the winners.
Yep. Yeah, this to me exemplifies the Novi for all. These students, teachers, parapros, and staff members. Would you believe they didn't trust me with the entire list because not all the winners have been notified? So this is just a partial list, and but the Above and Beyond Award is, like Mr. Micah said, is an annual program coordinated by CPAC, the Special Education Advisory Committee. The award recognizes the outstanding contributions of individuals within the Novi Community School District benefiting students with special needs. This program allows us to see and share the kindness, care, and selfless acts occurring in our community. This year they received over 50 nominations, outstanding nominations, and they narrowed that down to 8 winners. Spanning all categories: teachers, ancillary staff, paraprofessionals, and students. I do have all the students' names. It's the staff members that they haven't notified, so we will make up for that in the next board meeting. And I am not surprised at some of these students because I know them personally. But students are Ava Moretto, Michaela Stewart, Valera Sanchez Gonzalez, those are all at the high school. Novi Meadows students Everett Musso and Billy Raby. And ancillary staff Jennifer Ellis at the ECEC. These, like I said, these are the people that exemplify the Novi for All. They've gone above and beyond their responsibilities, especially the students, to help the special ed population feel at home. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cook, for sharing, and the CPAC works really hard. This is one of their main programs, and they work really diligently to have a rubric that's, fair and a nomination process so that anyone who is amongst us in our community can be honored for the work that we do to support all of our kids here. So it's a really great program. It's been going on, I think, for at least 5+ years, and thank you for mentioning it and letting us celebrate that tonight. Appreciate it. We will move on to reports to the board, and our first report is the Novi Virtual Update Report, and I will turn that over to Mr. Micah.
Great. One of the conversations we had early on after I started was, there were a lot of questions around what was the Novi Virtual Program's future? What does it look like? Where are they at currently? And so we're honored tonight to have Emily Polonsky with us, who's our Director of Curriculum, and she is going to come forward and provide an update on the Novi Virtual School.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me here today. I know there might have been a board meeting a few times back when folks said, hey, could you give us an update? And it's my absolute privilege to share this information with you and really celebrate some people that are here with me today too. So I have a few of our virtual teachers here that I have the privilege to lead. I have Amber Loney, Bethany Barnes, Amy Seaver, and Danielle Rathbun. And I have a lot of great things to say about our virtual program, but none of them would have been possible without our incredible virtual team. And I 100% put our successes on because of them, on their shoulders. So I'm just gonna take a little moment and give us some background so everyone kind of knows where we came from, why we're here. Prior to Novi Virtual in 2020-21, a lot of districts, including us, had to figure out what we were gonna do, how we were gonna switch to virtual. And 60% of our Novi Community School District families chose virtual. And what was interesting about that school year is that while a lot of other districts chose to purchase an outside program and send their fully virtual students into that program, we didn't. We used our Novi teachers and our Novi curriculum. And halfway through the year, families had an opportunity to change their mind. And this was happening all over the state. And all over these other districts who purchased these outside programs, when their families had to choose, they were rushing back in person. But our students stayed. Our families stayed in virtual. And as we talked to families in 2021, we heard that for some of our kids, while some of our kids were struggling virtually, we knew it wasn't great for them and it wasn't working, but for some of our students, it was the best learning experience that they had had. And so that triggered the opening of Novi Virtual, as you know it now. And I was hired that spring to be the principal at that time. And at that time, they said, you're gonna have 200 kids. And by the time we opened the doors in the fall, we were up to 400 kids. And so that was 2021 to 2022. And then what we knew from talking to families throughout that year, that there were still a number of families in 21, 22 who were choosing virtual because of COVID. And so we knew we had to make a plan to make this sustainable for the kids that really needed virtual in Novi, as our families who had it due to COVID were going back. So this year, we opened it up to cooperative agreements with partner districts. These students are still students in their home districts, but they have a partnership with us, which means they take our virtual classes, but they stay, their district provides special education, And their district, they would do sports or activities through their home district. And so as we look forward to 2023, 2024, what I'm going to talk about today is the ways we want to increase flexibility to provide support for more students. We took the time over the past 2 years to talk to students, families, and parents, and we came up with this Novi virtual model. And really what it came down to is that in Novi virtual, we are compassionate, committed, and flexible. And if you'll notice that aperture that's in the middle of the O, that represents this like a camera aperture that opens and closes to let students in and out when they need it. We know that virtual learning is not for every child all the time. But we also know that many kids will have a time when they do need virtual, and we want to be able to be there to catch them and support them and let them go back in person when they're ready to do that as well. I think I mentioned how much I think our virtual staff is the secret to our success. And I've got 2 examples here. Bethany Barnes, just this year, was named the 2023 McCall Innovative Teacher of the Year in Michigan. We're very proud of her. Last year, you heard about Amber Loney. She was named our 2021-2022 Novi Teacher of the Year. And I'm highlighting these 2 because they've won these awards, but we have teachers from all over the district that may not be virtual full-time, but are spending a piece of their day supporting virtual students in incredible ways. And this looks like providing materials like science kits so that they can do experiments at home. This looks like hosting in-person events to help students build social and emotional learning skills. It looks like connecting with students online in ways that you wouldn't imagine. It's like they're TV characters. The kids are so excited when they come in and see them in person because the teachers have done such a great job connecting with their students. In fact, survey data says that our percentages for student to teacher connectivity are just as high or higher than most in-person buildings in this state. I want to give you a few student stories just to explain who our kids are. And I'm going to be intentionally vague because I want to protect the privacy of our students. But we have, we're going to talk about it's called Student A. Student A had a sudden death in their family overseas. So they suddenly had to leave their in-person classroom, and we switched them to virtual almost overnight. And the time that they were gone meant that they were going to miss well over 6 weeks of school. Additionally, our district was going to lose the pupil accounting funding for that child because of the window that they were gone. And we were able to quickly move that child into virtual. Our teachers came up with a special plan for this child because they were learning with a 12-hour time difference. And that child was able to learn, move forward, excel, and grow during that time even though there was an immense tragedy going on in their family. We also have a student who's in middle school that is an elite level athlete. He is engaged in a training program that happens during time slots during the day, which means that all the other kids from the other districts that are in his program, they actually had to switch to an out-of-district online program without live teacher instruction, and they don't have access to their teachers or their curriculum from their home districts, and their district loses those dollars. This child stayed with us in Novi Virtual. They're still a Novi student, and they get to have our teachers and our curriculum. And I have a third student to highlight here. She suffers from incredible anxiety. She was failing all of her classes first semester because her parents couldn't get her in the building. They would drive her up, they would try to get her in. She is now in Novi Virtual, passing all of her classes and now more on track to graduate because we have this program. And these are just 3 examples of students that highlight the range of kiddos that we're supporting and why this program is beneficial for our district. When we look at numbers, what's so interesting about virtual, and as you heard those stories, our athletes tend to know they're going to participate in those programs, and we usually can plan for them. But many of the other reasons students choose virtual don't come on a nice, tidy schedule. So in August of 2022, we had 115 kids in virtual. Now we're already at 213. So they just keep adding all year long as these things come up. And so with our partner student, 73 of those kids are from partner districts. And you'll notice when the partner districts pay their fees, it's by semester. So we just had a partner district add 3 students this month, but they paid for the full spring semester, even though they're adding children in the month of May. And when we talk about revenue that we're bringing in, K through 6, we brought in $77,000 plus dollars, and 7 through 12, more than $159,000. And this is money coming in from our partner districts to, again, we're not here to try to make a bunch of money. That's not why that's not why we have partner districts. It's because we know there are our students, our 3rd grader who is really sick and in the hospital and that needs a virtual class. They need some classmates so that we can make this financially sustainable for our district. When we think about financial considerations, we have been revising our model, and our plan for next year is to reduce our K-4 staff by 1 FTE. Our teachers have been working with some new models of instruction that are allowing them to share students a little more fluidly. This looks like a 2nd grader doing their math with the 3rd grade students, or a 1st grader working on phonics instruction with the kindergartners, because they have holes there. So this sharing up and down happens a lot easier when you can simply just click on a different Zoom link or hop into a different breakout room. We've also adjusted our pricing model for our partner districts next year that will increase our revenue, and we will revisit this again in January of 2024. Our goal is to continue to be flexible and adjust based on our student and our family needs. And this is our partnership progress. We had 4 partners this year: South Lyon, Bedford, Royal Oak, and West Bloomfield. We are continuing conversations with a number of different districts. You can see I've got a few others, at least one other on there. South Lyon and Bedford already have their board approved and signed the contracts for next year. Royal Oak is busy trying to register kids but hasn't signed their contract yet. And so we're waiting on contracts from Royal Oak and West Bloomfield and are hopeful to form new partnerships for the upcoming year. And I mentioned that we were going through an ongoing continuous improvement process that is really rooted in stakeholder feedback. So we spend a lot of time talking to our parents, our teachers, and our students. And what we hear from them is that they love access to our live teachers, but they also want more flexibility. So they don't want to always have to be on with our live teachers. And so we've been conducting some pilots, K-6 and 7-12, and some of these pilots have been able to occur because we were named as part of a nationwide virtual strategy lab. You might have remembered we went to Texas in the fall for our virtual but yet in-person conference. And through that, we received a grant that has funded these pilots, which largely leads to additional PD and support for our teachers to get even better at what they're doing. And we have been able to provide professional development for all of our virtual teachers this year in light of what we learned through this strategy lab. We're one of the best already, and we're learning from others that are the best in our country. What we really want to do, though, next year is think about how can we support more students. Specifically, there are in-person students who have extenuating circumstances that cause them to have significant absences. And we've been building some strategies on the technical side of things to make it easier for us to pop a child into virtual to support them for a shorter period of time. Right now, they have to be out for at least 6 weeks for it to make sense. We're trying to do that. What can we do for a child that might be gone intermittently? Or what can we do for a child that might be gone for 4 weeks? And we're trying to define what does that look like, what are those criteria, and how can we do it in a way that's sustainable for a district that takes care of our kids. We have 3 proposed big changes. We are, again, reducing that K-4 FTE. Our numbers of virtual students at the high school level have actually been increasing, and so we're looking to add some more high school electives. And we're talking about flipping our virtual model, and this is what's come out of some of our pilots. We talk about virtual learning in 3 categories at Novi Virtual. We have live instruction, which is happening live on Zoom. They can see you right in that moment. We also have what's called on demand. The teacher is there. They are there in that window. They are sitting on that Zoom waiting for the kids that need them, or students can be on demanded. It's your appointment. It's time for you to come at that time. And then finally, we have independent, which you look at the shape, most of our instruction is live and the smallest amount is independent. When you look at other virtual programs, they are almost all independent with just a tiny bit of on demand. we want to keep that live instruction. Our families want that live instruction and they want that on demand. But what we plan on doing is flipping it to allow more flexibility. So the teachers are there when they need it, but the students can work independently if that is working for them. So that's my summary of what we're doing. I will tell you, we've had significant success at our most recent pilot. We had a child who was struggling with our first model and wasn't passing a class. And after 3 weeks of what we call our flipped virtual model, they're now getting an 81% in the class. So we're seeing success in these early pilots and are hopeful to see even more success next year. So in closing, I just want to remind you that all of our kids can learn, but sometimes we just need to find ways to do it for them on a different day or a different time of the day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Emily. I just want to thank you for wrapping your arms around this program because it truly is a Novi for all situation. It's like a living, breathing example, you and your team and the students and the families, really. It's taking kids and their individual needs and making sure that we're meeting them halfway and bringing them along with us. So
Thank
I
you.
love it. Thank you.
Thank you so
I don't
much.
know if any board members have any specific questions.
I had one.
Sure.
Thank you. So how does the way virtual school is functioning now compare to the way it functioned when we did virtual for the COVID year? Like, because that time we had almost a full day of class,
day.
and it sounds like it's not quite the same as.
So I'll give you an example of what it looks like for, it changes from as they go from kindergarten to 12th grade,
Okay.
right? So, but let's talk about what happens if your child is a K-1 student, right? A kindergartner or a first grader. They have a teacher, Mrs. Aloni, available to them all day long. She's there, but she does a lot of small group instruction. And her kids function on very tightly scheduled appointments. It's so fun to watch them. They have little timers that go off, like, this is my time with Mrs. Loney because this is my group to work on this. So it's very clearly defined, and we have gotten so much better at utilizing our tools to help it feel like a more seamless experience. I think our teachers during COVID did an incredible job. But they were literally learning while they were building
for
that
sure.
plane. I was one of them, right? And so I know that what we were able to do then versus what we're able to do now. We have a tool called Blocksy now that we're using in person, but in virtual, my own child is virtual, by the way. So if she is zoning out a little bit, or maybe a big light comes up on her screen that says, hello, and it alerts her, and her teacher can see if she maybe wanted to hop over here into YouTube and look at something else. I noticed you're on YouTube. It's time to come on back to me. We also have, yes, we have a new level of.
Not that ever occurred in my home, virtual school.
And I will tell you, our teachers have had just more time, right, to build something that was meant for virtual instead of very quickly trying to take what we had in person and try to. And our teachers during COVID did it so well, and they did it using hours and hours of their own time, and it was that strength that we built on to build this. We've just had a little more time to build and make it. We're trying to reduce the number of clicks your child might have to do to turn in an assignment. Does that help kind of?
Yes.
Yes.
No, it sounds great. So we did virtual, and it looks like about 60% of our kids have experienced that, but it was very much like attending school without leaving the house. And so this sounds like it's a much different model with a lot more flexibility, and I think it sounds fantastic.
And what we still believe in is opportunities for those kids to come in person. So tomorrow is our Novi virtual talent show happening at the Roar Center. So our teachers will be there with kids, and some of the kids who maybe they're really not well, they're gonna be zooming in. Some of them are doing their talents on the screen, and some of them are gonna be watching from the screen. And we have discovered that they do better when it's just a smaller group of kids that they're coming in to hang out with and interact with.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any other specific questions for Ms. Plonsky? Okay, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing part of your team with you today. And we look forward to hearing more in the future.
All right, thanks so much.
Okay, we are going to move. We are going to move on to comments from the audience. The board respectfully requests that any individual wishing to speak to the board provide their name, address, any organization they represent. Keep their comments to the allotted time of 3 minutes and refrain from directing comments to individual members of the board, district employees, or members of the audience. Sheila, Mrs. Holly has green cards back there. So this would be anybody's time to come to the podium, but if you could fill out a green card, she will bring it up to the table and we will bring you up to the podium to make your comment. Okay, seeing nobody tonight, we do appreciate having all of you in the audience. You certainly can send an email to the board or to Mr. Micah and his administrative team if something comes up for the rest of the meeting that you want to inquire about or make comment about. We are going to move on to our consent agenda. This evening on our consent agenda, we have several items. We have approval of minutes, which is the regular meeting minutes of April 20th, 2023, the closed session minutes of April 20th, 2023, the Finance Committee minutes of the whole for March 20th, 23. We have 3 approval of field trips on here, the Germany GAPP trip, the Grand Haven Volleyball Tournament, and the Argentina trip. If I may get a motion for the recommendation? Mrs. Roney?
That the Novi Community School Board of Education approve the consent items as presented.
Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Roney and supported by Mr. Mishner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We will move on now to our donations. We have 2 donations on our agenda. We'll start with the NEF therapy dogs. Mr. Micah.
We have a great partnership with the Novi Education Foundation, and one of the things that they have been very excited to partner with us on this year is our new therapy dog program. And so they have provided a donation in the generous amount of $10,000, and they will be sponsoring a dog. And so as Dr. Carino rolls that out and we know the name of the dog and all of those things, we'll update you. But this is a great opportunity for us to continue the great partnership that we've had with Novi Educational Foundation. So the recommendation is for you to accept that donation with gratitude.
Thank you. If I can get a motion for the recommendation, Mr. Cook?
Yeah, I move that the Novi Community School Board of Education accepts the donation as presented with appreciation and thanks.
Do we have support?
Support.
You guys threw me off over here. Maybe that's a support.
We all like the puppies.
Yes, recommended by Mr. Cook and supported by Mr. Mena. Do we have any comments or discussion on this?
Name the dog Neff.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
cute. Yeah, as always, thank you to the NEF. They are always supporting our teachers and our students, and you can really see it when you walk through the buildings, all the things that they continually do. So, yes, Ms. Bodwin.
I just wanted to highlight that this year, the Green Gala specifically called out this item as something that they were hoping to fundraise for. And so I'm excited to see this donation, and I also wanted to make sure the community is aware of what an important event that is, because it does really impact the experience our kids have in their buildings every day. So thank you to the NEF and to everyone who attended the Green Gala and donated and participated.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have one more grateful donation, and that is the Novi Wildcats Basketball Club. Mr. Micah.
Thank you. The Novi Wildcats Basketball Club runs a tournament, and they donate half of their proceeds to our boys and girls program. So they're going to be donating $500 to the girls basketball program at the high school level, as well as $500 to the boys basketball program. They're also donating an additional $800 to go towards the boys program, where the coaches volunteered to run their Wildcat tournament. So we recommend that we accept the donations with gratitude.
Thank you. If I can get a motion for the recommendation. Mrs. Boatwright?
That the Novi Community Schools Board of Education accept the donations as presented with appreciation and thanks.
Do you have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Bodwine and supported by Mrs. Roney. Any comments or questions? I think again, just thank you and appreciation and gratitude. Anytime, our collaborative groups give back to our school community, we are very, very appreciative. So that is one of the reasons that this was, that these donations were added to our agenda over the past year. Okay, seeing no more comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Alrighty, we are going to move into closed session for the purpose of negotiations. I'll have the person who's doing the recommendation do that. It's gonna be very short, so it'll give you just a little bit of time to pivot amongst yourself, but we will be back quickly, and then we have a lot more on our agenda. So, Mr. Cook?
Yeah, I recommend that the school, Novi Community Schools Board of Education moves into closed session for the purpose of contract negotiations.
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Cook. I was just wondering if we needed to name the.
You just need to name the purpose.
Okay. Recommended by Mr. Cook and supported by Mr. Mena. Mr. Mena, if I can get a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Bodwine.
Yes.
Trustee Cook.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Mishner.
Yes.
Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0, and we will be back just quickly. Okay, we are back and we are out of closed session. So we are gonna move to our first action item, which is the NEA contract approval, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Micah.
This is a very exciting time for us, and I think it's a foundational moment actually for our district. We set out for the beginning of this year to really work collaboratively with our teachers. We have the most incredible educators anywhere. And I know that this board has been a large supporter of our teachers, but I think that there are some structural challenges in terms of the ways that we compensate teachers, the structures that we had. I have to say, this project, which is a very large endeavor, represents a 3-year agreement. It represents the fixing of a 28-step pay schedule. It represents a guaranteed assurance for our staff to know what they're gonna be making over the next few years, stability. It also provides flexibility for a variety of different things, including some of our teachers who are gonna be having children and families and what that means for them upon retirement. I have to say that the collaboration between the teachers union and the NEA and their group was absolutely delightful. They were great partners through this process. It felt like there was a lot of mutual respect and listening in the room. I have to say Devin Kling and Laura Carino did a fantastic job pulling a lot of language together, checking financial analysis, looking at forecasts. It was a tremendous team effort, and so we're very proud of this product. And this contract was ratified by the teachers this past week. With over 88% voting yes. And so we are very proud of this document, and it is here for your consideration this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Micah. So I will start by asking for a motion for the recommendation. Mr. Cook?
Yeah, I move that in the best interest of the Novi Community School District, the Board of Education approve the NEA contract as presented.
Do we have support?
Support.
Everybody?
Lots of support. Recommended by Mr. Cook and supported by Mrs. Bodwine. Do we have any comments? Okay, I'm sure everybody does. Mr. Cook, you raised your hand first, and then we'll go to Mr. Mishner.
First off, I want to thank the negotiating teams on both sides. I think they took on a monumental task here with some of the things they did. It kind of stems back to last summer when the latest school rankings came out, and Novi was ranked #1. But in places to teach in the state, we're number 36. It doesn't seem right. And at that time, the board asked Mr. Manka what's going on with that, and he and Dr. Carino took off on their listening tours. And this contract does address some of those points, and not only in the numbers, but in the language. And I think that it's a very concerted effort to make sure that our teachers are heard and listened to, and that they're valued. And they are definitely valued by this board. If anybody had a perception that that wasn't the case, I'm not sure where that would have come from, because we've always tried to support the teachers in everything they do. And this contract hopefully represents that for the next 3 years.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Mr. Mishner?
Yeah, so my experience has been that buildings are impressive, technology dazzles, and awards can really grab somebody's attention, but people are the heart and soul of any outstanding organization. And it's my true hope that this contract provides that stability and sense of belonging that we want to give to our staff, our educators, and also our students that can see their teachers year in and year out, can come back and thank them for the amazing stuff they did, for the times they believed in them when no one else did, and give our educators the opportunity to find a home district where they can grow, learn, mature, and turn around and teach the next generation of educators, and then retire with dignity and grace, with a warm send-off and a great thanks for a job well done. And I really believe that this contract gets us, if not there, at least closer. And I really want to say thank you to all our staff and educators, and thank you to the administrative team that was willing to put in the extra time, the thoughtfulness, the creative actions, to be able to make a true, my son would appreciate this, a win-win situation for everybody in the district, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Missioner. Mrs. Bodwine?
Thank you. I speak at almost every one of these meetings I've been to, if not all of them so far, about how much I love and respect and adore all of the educators that make this place happen. So I'm not gonna really spend a lot of time on that this evening, but I, of course, so much love and respect for all of the teachers and administrators and whatnot in this district. I would like to really highlight and applaud the efforts of Mr. Manka, Dr. Carino, Mr. Kling, and Mr. Giamini. I believe you were involved as well as Mrs. Burnside for her efforts and the other representatives from the NEA. When that listening tour commenced, I also think it's amazing that the people in our NEA organization took the risk of saying what they need. Because I think a lot of times in our jobs, it's really hard to say like, well, I would really be happier if I had ABC. And sometimes once we speak those things, we're afraid maybe we're not gonna get them. But I really wanna highlight the people who negotiated this contract and made as many of those things possible as they could in a way that I think is going to help us recruit and retain excellent educators for decades. So thank you to everybody who was involved, and again, thank you to all of our teachers.
Thank you, Mrs. Bodwine. Do we have any other comments?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
I just appreciate this coming together so quickly. I mean, not quickly, you guys worked on it probably forever. But, we're able to offer the boots on the ground, the teachers that make this district wonderful, their worth. So thank you. Thank you to Superintendent Minka, our staff. And I mean, it's wonderful to be able to do this so early in the year.
Thank you. Mr.
Sure.
Mena?
Sure, I've been on this board maybe the longest, actually by a few weeks. And I can't think of a time where we, at least contractually, we didn't support any contract or any recommendation for contracts that came to us from our administrators. This board has always been supportive of our teachers, but this is a great contract. I'm so happy for you guys. And I hope, based on what I understand was the vote from teachers, I think, sounds like you guys are pretty excited as well. I just harken back to about a year ago where I think a lot of people were in panic mode because we had one administrator, working in the district at the time because we had a churn. Some people were obviously in panic mode. I know we had a lot of community members coming up in panic mode because they felt we were going to fall apart. And it's amazing that 1 year later, we got this fantastic team here, and in such a small amount of time was able to put together this fantastic contract for what I would agree is the best teachers in the state of Michigan, if not further than that. So thank you for all your hard work. I hope you always know that you're appreciated by this board. I hope a lot of you decide to stay and really enjoy your tenure here in Novi. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Mr. Mena. Mr. Smith?
I guess I shouldn't be the only one to not say anything. I'd like to go back, I don't know how many in the room remember Seth Burlow, but Seth was one of the first guys that I spoke with when I was considering running for my position on the board. And I also want to thank Lisa Rice, who's now retired, but in my communication with Lisa and throughout my relationship with her, I got to really understand and appreciate what it was like to walk a mile in your shoes, if you will. And Seth was the one that helped me understand some of the economics and how there was that period of time where if you looked at a real increase in your compensation as teachers, it didn't exist. And in fact, if you looked at your spending power over that decade, it actually declined. And I want to echo Paul's comments that it's one thing to be the number one district in the state, it's another one thing to be the most desirable district in the state to acquire talent for any combination of reasons. So I want to recognize those two people and also Heather and some of the local team. I saw Kelly was here at the break. I think she left. I still call her this late. You know, it's meaningful. My son Thomas, who's the youngest of our three kids that went through Deerfield, showed up to eat some of Miss Holly's beef stroganoff downstairs. And he stopped by to say goodbye to me, and Kelly was still here. And she was like, oh my gosh, you know, she had Thomas as a kindergarten student, and now he's in 11th grade. She liked Thomas so much she wanted to keep him for an extra year. But it's important that we not only, you know, attract these great teachers, but it's important that we retain them. And I think that was the concern that some of us had, and that, you know, Trustee Mentor referenced with regards to the concern that we had in the public that we were just gonna, and I had it too. So I just want to thank some of those that were impactful in my life through personal and professional relationships that helped me really understand how much you put yourself out to go sit in between, you know, Lisa and Jen Smith's classes and sit and read books to first graders at Village Oaks, or, you know, go back and walk through the halls at Deerfield. It's an, as we saw tonight, the support person of the year is an honorable, meaningful career. And to think that I got hate mail, you know, I didn't care for your teachers because I wanted our kids to be in classes during COVID. It wasn't that I didn't respect the lives of the teachers. I knew that our kids, frankly, in most cases, would be better off in your capable hands than at home without your love and your professional skills. So thank you for all you do, and I'm glad that the union ratified the contract so overwhelmingly, and I'm happy to support it tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and I will not say I'll be the woman of few words, but I would like to just thank the team. I think that this isn't just a give, it's a give and take, and so this just really represents relationships, how we feel we should be treating our employees and our staff, and the respect that you all have for the district that you work in. So I heard throughout this process how this went, and I really, really acknowledge the team. It wasn't just the 4 cabinet members, but there were other members, and I'm sure that during Mr. Micah's report, he will share maybe who those people are, but it's creative. This contract is creative, and it wasn't just creative that the district came in and said, this is what we're gonna do. It's creative minds of your NEA union and the district sitting down and saying, we have a problem, we have something that's broken, and how can we fix it so that we can all work together and collaborate and feel good about the work that we're doing for our kids. I was in a classroom for just a brief 15 minutes. I think it was yesterday morning, I don't even know what day it is. And we all know any time that we've spent in classrooms, the amount of work and love and compassion, and you know, it's a grueling job, and it's not always as respected as it should be and it needs to be. Just not, I'm not speaking about here in Novi, but just in general. So I hope that this creative, predictable agreement that the district and the NEA has put together will make you feel really happy to be here. It will take away some of your worries, probably not all of them, just like we as district members and as a board, you know, have a fiduciary responsibility. So it's a give and take, and I think that we should all be really, really proud of it. And I am, and I think that this is just the beginnings of the work that we can do together as a team. I shared a quote with a good friend of mine earlier that I kind of came across in the last day or so. And I'll just read it, and then we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. But we cannot opt for independent study hall. We can only truly learn our most important life lessons through our relationships and working together. So I think that this truly represents that, and I feel very proud and honored to support this. So, thank you. Mr. Mena, if you can take a roll call vote for us, please.
Trustee Bodwine,
Would enthusiastically like to vote yes.
trustee Cook,
Yes.
trustee Mena, yes, trustee Mishner,
Yes.
trustee Roney,
Yes.
trustee Ruskin,
Yes.
trustee Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. We will move on to our personnel report A, and I will turn that over to Mr. Michael.
Exciting point of our meeting where we get to introduce some new members to the family and say goodbye to some that are moving on, but I'll turn it over to Dr. Carino.
Thank you very much. We have 2 new hires this evening. We are excited to introduce Megan File, who is a special ed teacher. She doesn't have any fans here at all. And Baby Thomas is a special ed paraprofessional at Parkview. We also have a few resignations. Lana Zabrowski, who is currently on a leave of absence, will be resigning at the end of the year, as well as Gina Murphy, an administrative assistant at Novi Virtual, and Lisa Sumner, a special education para at the NATC.
Thank you, Dr. Carino. If I can get a motion for the recommendation? Mrs. Bodwine?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopts the personnel report recommendations as presented.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Bodwine and supported by Mr. Smith. Any comments or questions? No? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We will move on to, actually, we're not gonna move on. I'm so sorry. I see flowers coming and Dr. Carino calling from my corner of my eye. Go ahead.
Megan File is here this evening, and so we would like to call her up.
Okay.
We officially welcome you to the Novi family.
Thank you so much. It's been a long time coming, but I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome.
I assume that she either worked in the district or she just made a ton of friends this evening.
Great question. She has been serving as a guest teacher at Novi Woods while she was waiting for her teacher certification to be processed.
Wonderful. Great. Welcome, Megan. And we will move on to Personnel Report B, Administration New Hires, and I will turn it over to Mr. Micah.
This is a very exciting moment. We had, the unfortunate news about 3 months ago that Mr. Asher was gonna be leaving us, and, there's no replacing Mr. Asher, with his personality and just the incredible work that he's done at Novi Woods. But it is also an opportunity for us to be able to pave a new era at Novi Woods and search for the next leader. In addition, at Orchard Hills Elementary School, we had Adva Ringel, who moved into, just been doing a phenomenal job in her new role. And I have to say that Darby Hoppenstedt has been absolutely fantastic to really kind of bring the team together and do a lot of amazing work over the past 4 months, and will continue through this school year. But finding the right fit at these 2 schools was a very important job that we had to do. And so we went through a process, and for the very first time, Dr. Carino recommended it at her last, presented at the last board meeting about the new hiring process. Pleased to say that we had 94 applicants for these principal positions. They went through 4 very rigorous rounds of interviews, including panels that included multiple parents from both buildings, multiple staff members from both buildings, administrators. I actually didn't even talk to these candidates until until after 4 full rounds, and they had been vetted by pretty much seemingly everywhere. I'm very, very proud of the work that was done and the rigor that was done to bring these candidates forward. And I think they're both gonna be amazing fits for our school communities. And I'm gonna let Dr. Carino introduce, and any other comments you have on the process?
Sure. We are very excited to introduce Joy Danforth tonight and recommend her to be the principal at Orchard Hills, as well as Alice Kazee as the next principal at Novi Woods. As Mr. Micah shared, it was a wonderful process. We tried our new screeners, and we just had amazing candidates. We had the privilege of watching so many videos, much more than we would have if we would have implemented the HumanX practice. And so it was a very rigorous process. We are incredibly excited that these two wonderful ladies have decided to join our Novi family, and I know that they will continue the excellent work that is happening in both of those buildings.
Thank you. And with that, I'll ask for a recommendation, Mr. Mishner.
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education approve Joy Danforth as elementary school principal at Orchard Hills Elementary School, and also approve Alice Kazee as elementary school principal at Novi Woods Elementary School.
Do we have support?
Support.
Go for it. Go ahead. I was doing it because she looks at me well. Go ahead over there, but recommended by Mr. Mishner and supported by Mr. Mena. Any comments or questions? I know we're gonna get an opportunity to meet these two new leaders in a second. So seeing,
Right?
yes, please.
We are thrilled to have both of you here. Welcome to the Novi family, and I look forward to learning more about both of you as you start your careers here, but hopefully they will be very long and very happy careers here. I'm very excited to see such warm welcomes for both of you from your new communities there. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mena.
You did hear 94 candidates, so
You did.
it make you feel pretty good.
Mr. Mishner.
Just to keep the train rolling, I will say that I heard nothing but amazing feedback from the panel, from the administrators. You both come extremely highly recommended, and I'm very excited to have you guys on the principal staff for the elementary schools of this district. So welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mishner. Any other comments? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And I will have you introduce whoever you'd like to first.
Sure, I'm going to go in order of the paper, so it is not but we would like to welcome Joy Danforth as the next principal of Orchard Hills.
Hello. Good evening to you all. Good evening to the esteemed board members, Superintendent Micah, the Novi Schools community, Orchard Hills staff who came out and gave me such a warm welcome. I am so overwhelmed with the kindness, all of your warmth from the beginning, from the very start. You have been so kind. You have been extending yourselves throughout the process in support, and I just appreciate all that I have received thus far, and we're just beginning, so it's just so amazing. I want to express my excitement and my deep appreciation for this opportunity to serve the students and families of Novi Community District, and just to I would like to provide quality, high-quality education for all students, and that has been my life's work. Learning experiences that are authentic and equitable, and doing things that support all students, all parents, all families is always my mission. I strive to do these things every day when I get up and go and make my morning coffee. I'm always thinking about how do I serve my teachers, how do I serve my staff, because what I know is happy staff members are productive staff members. And I just want you all to know that not only do I want to make you happy and I want to teach students, and those are all great things and those are all great evidence evidence of a leader, but the best evidence of a leader is to make sure that I empower you to take risk, empower you to learn and grow, empower you to be lifelong learners, and to model that for our students in our community. That is my life's mission. And also, I just cannot wait. I can't wait to share my experiences with you all. I do come from a very diverse community, and I grew up in a diverse community, I serve in a diverse community, and I just can't wait to bring my experience to here and share that with the stakeholders here in Novi. But I also just cannot wait to learn from you all and learn and grow side by side as we learn how to modify, how to change, how to shift as our community continues to shift and grow. And I just want to be a part of that magic. So we're going to make magic together. I just can't wait to be a part of it. All right. Thank you.
Joy, can you introduce who you came with? Joy, can you introduce who you brought with you?
These are my people. Okay. This is my husband, Prentice Danforth. My son, Emmanuel, who goes to Saginaw Valley, his first year at Saginaw Valley this year. And then this is my daughter, Sarah. You'll hear a lot of Sarah stories from me. This is my daughter, Sarah.
During our science week today, we had some students write you book letters, so.
Thank you, I appreciate that so much.
So for you, we're so excited.
I'm
to
so
have you.
overwhelmed.
This is just some Novi gear to welcome you.
Oh, okay.
The guys reach for the gear, the daughter reaches for mom to give her a hug.
Thank you very much for introducing yourself, and we just cannot wait to get to know you better and to work alongside you, so welcome. I'll turn it over to Dr. Carino for our next principal introduction.
Yes, last but certainly not least, we have Mrs. Alice Kazee, who is the next principal of Novi Woods. That is a really hard act to follow, so I'm just going to say ditto to everything she said. And I cannot express to you how excited I am for this opportunity. I actually am a little bit opposite of her in the sense that I have had experiences non-diverse areas, and so I am super geeked to be here and to kind of work with this awesome staff that I got to spend some time with this morning. It's already evident that Novi Woods is fantastic. The culture is great. I am just super excited to be a part of it, and I want to thank you all for the opportunity to do this. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Can you introduce those that you brought with you?
Yes, so I have with me my husband Jeff. He's also a teacher, so we talk shop a lot at home. And then my oldest daughter Kaylee, she is finished her first year at University of Michigan. My younger one was doing something with Fashion Club, so she couldn't come tonight. 16-year-olds, that's the way they are, so. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Alice, and I hope that every day for both of you is just as magical as you just had. So when you're having the hard days, right? Like, let's remember this. But we're going to take just a 5-minute break so that people who have other things to do, you are all welcome to stay and listen to our important work. But we also know and value your time, commitment, and appreciate that the teachers have been at work all day long, and it is already 20 to 9. So if you need to step out, this is your opportunity, and thank you for being here tonight.
Okay, let's be done by 9.
Okay, we are back for the continuation of our board meeting. And we are moving on to action item D, the board meeting schedule revision. I will turn it over to Mr. Meinke.
This is a request to move the originally scheduled June 22nd work session up to June 8th for us to be able to consider a work session of the whole to consider our policy package. We also have a committee of the whole that week to review the 2000 series and the policies. And so the goal would be to move that session up so that on June 15th, you'd be prepared to address the policy package.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion for recommendation, please. Mrs. Roney?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education approve moving the board work session from June 22nd, 2023 to June 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Do we have support?
I support.
Recommended by Mrs. Roney and supported by Mr. Smith. Any questions, comments? Okay, it's just a busy week, but we'll just get it done and have an extra week off in the summer, and we'll have time to get our work done then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Next, we have our Novi Community School District L4029 tax levy approval, and I will turn that over to Mr. Meinke.
This was the report that Mr. Kling reported on earlier this meeting during the truth and taxation hearing. This essentially certifies our tax levy for tax collection in both the summer and the winter, and it's there for your approval this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion for the recommendation, Mr. Mishner?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education approve the 2023 summer tax levy as presented.
Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Mishner and supported by Mrs. Roney. Any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Next, we have the Chartwell's contract renewal. Mr. Meinke?
This is a renewal for our continued partnership with Chartwell's. Not only do we have one of the best food service directors in Kim Sinclair, we have we've had tremendous experience working with Chartwell's, and we're going to continue to request that we continue to use them as our food management company, and that contract is there for your approval.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion for this recommendation, Mr. Smith?
I recommend that the Novi Community School District Board of Education approve the renewal of Chartwell's contract agreement as presented.
Support.
He's fine.
Recommended by Mr. Smith and supported by Mr. Mena. Any questions or comments, Mr. Cook?
Does Kim come with the contract?
Yes, she does.
Any
I'll
other-
make a comment.
Yes, please.
It's just weird, you know, you go through life sometimes and you have somebody in a role, and you find out that they're gonna leave, and you're like, oh, man, this is gonna stink, you know? And it's not that Evolve wasn't, you know, great, and then Kim comes in and it's like, oh, wow, you know, you see actually that there's, you know, potentially somebody that's even better, right? So it's just been an amazing, relationship. I just wanna thank you, Kim, for all the work that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Cook?
Yes, I do want to thank him for, we heard a lot about the smoothie bar this morning. And I mentioned that to my son this afternoon after he got home from school, and he's wondering when they're going to implement it at the middle school.
Actually, we're going,
Yeah, you can come up to the podium.
we are doing it Wednesday of next week, or Thursday of next week at the middle school. We're gonna sample it out and see how it goes there, and then we gotta get the kids buy-in first.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
We'll just make sure that Mr. Cook's son, brings his cheerleading pom-poms and smoothies.
Right.
Right. So I think we got buy-in at least
Yeah.
for one.
He'll bring his posse.
Yeah, exactly.
It will be free this week. We'll have to check next time.
Mr. Mishner?
I also wanted to say, I love what you're doing with the Read a Lot Cafe in our partnership with the Novi Public Library. My only thing is, I just wish it was open more, like on the weekends and after hours, out of selfish reasons. That's usually when I'm there with my son. But I would love to be able to partake in your beverages and refreshments and some extended hours, if that's at all possible.
Well, I don't know my role at this time, but we have to make money there because of the, we have to make money in order to be open. And we did try it. It just, we do not get the draw. And honestly, the students at the Novi High School really support that cafe. And that's one of the reasons why we do a business there and we can still keep our doors open. We do some advertising. It is, it's tough there. So I think we're spending a lot of time, my team and the partnership that we have with Dana over there and her advertising communications is great. So we keep spreading the word. I think the more the community knows that it does support these additional things that we do in the community, I think we'll get busier. Unfortunately, Kristen, who's retiring, is, she and I are collaborating on some ideas to maybe be able to let it work on the weekend. So I didn't want to tell anybody, but now I open the door. So we're working together to figure out, there's a place in Ann Arbor that has the same type of program. So we're going to visit there. We're going to see how we can turn it around, and if we can make a profit, then we will. You will see us open more, but we have to make money.
Well, thank you for letting everybody know that they should go grab a coffee at the Novi Public Library and support our school district.
Thank you. Oh, and Feed the Need. Don't forget about Feed the Need. That's going to be starting here this summer.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Missioner and Tim, for bringing it up. Yes, lots of people go to Starbucks at all the different locations. I won't call them out. And there's lots of construction. So if you live on 10 Mile and you don't want to deal with the construction, you just pull your little self right into that library parking lot in the morning and go to Starbucks there. It's full-on Starbucks. So
Yes, you can't
there
beat
you go.
it. And it all comes back here.
See, free advertising. I know we have like 500 watchers right now.
Yes, yes,
Maybe
please.
more. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I think we're ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to our EnviroClean contract renewal. Mr. Meinke?
This is a contract extension. This is a one-year extension. We've been working with Mr. Dragoo as well as with a variety of our staff. There have been some challenges in the past with, just how some of our rooms have been cleaned. We've been pleased more recently with how some of the staff in EnviroClean have responded. But it's, at this point, in my opinion, we're looking at a one-year extension to see how they do, and this will be an opportunity for them to continue to show that they can improve and continue to keep our buildings cleaned at the level of expectation that we have. So that renewal is there for your approval this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Meinke. If I can get a motion for the recommendation. Mrs. Bodwine?
That the Novi Community School District Board of Education approves the EnviroClean contract renewal as presented.
Thank you. Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Bodwine and supported by Mr. Smith. Do we have any comments? Mr. Cook?
Yeah, are we gonna keep monitoring as tightly as we have been and getting a monthly report?
Yeah, we're getting, actually, Mr. Kling has now taken that over, and so we have not only monthly reports, but actually daily reports from the classrooms. And, again, we're continuing, a lot of it's about the staff that are in there. We have some buildings that have just absolutely incredible, staff and building engineers, and others where the turnover is a little higher, and so that's gonna be our continued concern and eye looking out for that. So I think that will play a big role in what our recommendation may be a year from now. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to our next action item, which is the 2023-24 Oakland Schools budget. Mr. Meinke?
This is an annual resolution to support the Oakland Schools budget that they provide. I know this was talked about in information and discussion. Mr. Missioner had asked for some follow-up. I think Mr. Kling sent some examples of the ways that Oakland Schools works with us. Their budget, is difficult to parse out the specific things, but you can see the detail that's there, and it is there for your approval this evening and support.
Thank you. And if I can get a motion for recommendation, Mr. Missioner?
recommend that the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopt the resolution to support the Oakland budget.
Do we have support? Support recommended by Mr. Mishner and supported by Mrs. Beautwine. Do we have any questions? I know that Mr. Kling sent a really thorough question and answer to the entire board, and that was really helpful. I appreciate those questions, and I appreciate the follow-up and all the information that we received, so. Any other comments, Mr. Cook?
Yeah, this isn't something that comes up annually and it's like a rubber stamp. You know, our vote, if we were to vote no on this, it doesn't mean a thing. If we were to vote yes on it, it doesn't mean a thing. They're gonna go through with this budget, no matter what we say, and we're only one of 27, 28 districts in the county anyways, so. You know, when I first got on, I had other board members saying, just vote no, just vote no. And didn't really mean anything. So, you know, we'll support it, but just let it be known that our voice really doesn't count on this one.
Mr. Cook, thank you, and Mr.
And
Mike.
just to tag on that, because I remember those conversations, and part of the issues that we were having was that we were getting budgets from Oakland County that had expenditures in there to give raises for their employees when we couldn't do the same for ours at the same time. So that was a little tough to swallow, so that's why we would vote against it.
Mr. Mishner?
Is there anything in particular that you have find an issue in their budget this year?
Not this year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I appreciate the fact that we do receive the budget, there's some transparency. It's not really our budget, it's their budget. I think they just need their constituents to approve it. And as Mr. Mena pointed out, I mean, there may be times where just philosophically we're unable to support it based on something, you know, that important, that we can't support our teachers, but they can support staff in a different way, or things like that that are more philosophically based. But you asked a lot of great questions and we received some answers, so I think that nobody has any specific reasons not to support this at this time from what any of us have heard, so I don't think that Mr. Mena's or Mr. Mike has received any questions regarding that. Okay, so I think we're ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We will move on to the NHS Performance Gym refurbishing. Mr. Manka.
This is an opportunity for us to sand down and completely refinish the floor at the competition gym at Novi High School. This is going to be a different line layout. We'll be restriping the floor with an updated PowerCat logo that's a little bit more updated. We'll have 2 coats of oil-based finish, so you'll see kind of a two-tone look on the floor. And the goal for this project is to get this done over the summer so that as we return in the fall for volleyball and some of our competition sports in the fall, they'll be ready to go. So the recommendation is to approve the project of $47,118.50 as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for this recommendation? Mr. Mena?
Yeah, I move that the board award the contract to Faster Specialty Flooring in the amount of $47,118.50 for the refurbishment of the high school gymnasium floor.
Support.
Thank you. Just a little clarification, correction, there's just a little typo here, it's Foster. You didn't read it wrong, but it's in here Faster, but it's Foster if I follow up on the front, just so that we're not giving the contract to Faster. So,
Move support.
recommended by Mr. Mena and supported by Mr. Cook. Do we have any specific questions, Mr. Mena?
I do. I've
Yes.
obviously spent a lot of time in the gym over the years, and I really can't remember when the last time it was that we've actually changed that. It'd be nice, it's nice to finally get our logo, our updated logo in the middle of that court. It's, again, you got any history on that?
I don't. I just know it's long overdue.
It's, yeah, I can't remember what the previous gym floor looked. It's been a lot of years.
I know that it gets finished and waxed every year,
Yeah.
but you have to tear it down to the base layer and sand it, you know, every so often to keep it up.
But
So,
I don't think that the actual graphics on the lowest layer has been changed
yeah,
in forever.
yeah,
So that'll be nice. That'll be a nice improvement
Mhm.
in the gym.
yeah.
Should brighten the gym up too, that dark yellow, dark wood floor.
Yeah.
Become much lighter.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have our final action item this evening, which is Novi High School and Novi Middle School cafeteria furniture approval. Mr. Micah?
This is a project that we're excited to engage in. We've had our high school and middle school cafeteria furniture for quite a while, and so there was an opportunity to use our food service fund dollars. Mr. Kling and I talked about how we could use, as you know, we had an excess fund balance in our food service account, and so this provides us an opportunity to, provide our students with more flexible seating furniture. As well as you've probably seen nooks. There's gonna be some nooks that are a part of this that will be great for students that have more sensory diverse needs. And it's a great, it'll be a great kind of flexible space that our students during lunch will be able to, spread out and I think really appreciate and be proud of. So the goal for this project is to have implementation and installation before school starts. And so obviously, your approval tonight will allow us to stay on track and hopefully have everything installed before the kids come back.
Thank you, Mr. Micah. If I can get a motion? Mr. Cook?
Before I make the motion, can I ask for clarification?
Yes.
It says we're taking the funds from the 2019 bond fund?
Sorry, that is not correct. It's gonna be from the food service fund.
Okay, I'll make the motion then.
Thank you.
I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education awards the contracts to American Interiors in a total of $978,055.41. Further authorize the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations to expend the funds from the food service funds.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Cook and supported by Mrs. Roney. Do we have any specific comments or questions, Mr. Cook?
Yeah, I think this is great, knowing a lot of kids that do have those sensory needs. And I hope we monitor it throughout the year to see if those nooks are actually those kids actually get to use them versus other kids just jumping and grabbing them. I really like the idea that you don't have to have a posse of 10 kids to sit and eat lunch anymore. You can sit with 3 friends, 2 friends, 6 friends, whatever you want, and gives a lot of choice there for the kids. And I know there's a lot of kids there who are just at a table because that's the only place there was to sit. I'm really looking forward to this, both at the middle school and the high school, for those reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mishner?
I like that we're taking the opportunity at every revision to incorporate our new logo and design into all our upgrades. So that's a nice, cost-effective way to also give our schools that updated logo.
Yeah, thanks.
I agree. I feel like those tables are cool. I mean, when I saw just all the power cats and different use of it, I was like, wow. I'm not a designer by any stretch of the imagination, but it is pretty neat. So, any other comments or questions? Mrs. Bodwine?
I just wanted to say that I really love the flexibility that we're offering our students, and for just the community members, if you haven't seen the plans, we have the long rectangular tables that are gonna seat like a dozen kids or so, some of the smaller round ones, there's some really awesome pods that Mr. Micah mentioned that are almost like an enclosed, little, I don't know, almost like a little drawing of a house you'd make when you're a little kid, like that sort of shape with a little bench seat in it. And then it actually has some padding that went up around, which will give you a lot more acoustic, I don't know, it'll kind of soften some of the noise. So I think it's a really excellent option for some of our students that do have more special needs and allow them to be in that bigger space without really fully being in that big space. So I think it's a really great option. I'm very excited to see those incorporated in the high school and the middle school both.
Thank you, Mrs. Bodwine. Do we have any other comments? Mr.
If
Cook?
nobody else is. One thing I will mention is that even though they aren't mentioned in here, T-Squared Design, working with a new contractor on coming up with this stuff. It's a company out of Brighton that was formed when the girl graduated from U of M. Actually is a high school friend of mine. And her husband is a high school friend of mine, so. But they do a wonderful job. They've been over to Brighton to see some of the work they do for Brighton schools, and it's phenomenal.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that back guess it's not a backstory, background. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I think we're ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We are gonna move on. We have 2 information and discussion items. The first one is the iPad refresh. Mr. Micah?
So I'm gonna actually just request to talk about A and B at the same time. These are both items that are fairly routine. I know Anthony's here tonight and will be able to answer any questions that you have, so, but what I'll just say is that our iPads, they're on a cycle, right? So we replace our technology in cycles, so as those iPads come out of use, their usable life, we replace them. And so we're building those systems around all of our equipment right now. In addition to that, our high school CAD lab is aged out, and those machines need to be replaced as well. And so at the next board meeting, we're gonna be asking to move forward with those planned refreshes. And so Anthony, if you wanna come forward and just be prepared to answer any questions that the board members may have. iPads are used primarily for our younger students, and then obviously the CAD lab is at the high school currently, so it's there for your consideration at the next meeting. So I don't know if there's anything you wanna add, Anthony?
Nope, any questions? I'm happy to answer anything that the board may. Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious, what CAD products are we running on these machines?
Currently, you've got the Autodesk, so, and you also have, talking to Mr. Phil Scavo, they're also using, I believe, Rivet and some other applications. You've got some of the Adobe Creative Cloud.
And I assume these are all spec to meet Autodesk requirements now and throughout their useful life cycle?
Correct, and actually, we based it off the 2024 version of the AutoCAD, which has those higher standards. So you meet that, we meet and exceed it, we're gonna be good for a little while, so.
Okay.
Great question.
Any other questions for Anthony? Mrs. Beaudoin?
What happens to all of the old devices?
We end up wiping them, we end up recycling them, and then there is a monetary fee that comes back to the district, the one that is taking place. So obviously it's collection, wiping, moving all the important data, and then the company recycles it, gives us certificates of stating that everything's been cleaned and wiped and ready to move on.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, certainly if something comes up on either of these items, you can send an email to Mr. Micah, and he will get the information from Anthony and his team. So,
Excellent. Thank you for your time this evening, Board.
thank you.
I appreciate you staying for a couple hours.
I know, I was just gonna say, long haul.
Just putting the fun stuff at the end, right? Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we will move on to our committee reports. Let's see, we have had now you're really gonna test my brain power at 9:10. We have had a capital projects committee.
Yeah, we did.
Can you give a
Oh.
report or an overview?
Sure, the capital projects committee met, myself, trustee Cook, trustee Meta. It was really a review of the ongoing work, whether it's the work at Meadows or some of the maybe more visible projects at the entrance to the high school athletic stadium, some of that work. It also included some preliminary dates and timeframes and schedules for the next bond project, in the scope of what that might look like. That would include everything from athletic fields to the activity center, which was part of the last bond issue that we made. So I think I had, like I said, trustee Mena and trustee Cook there. It was a closed session, and we had our partners there from Plant Moran. And I don't think I'm missing anything. It seems like we're on schedule. There's, to be candid with everyone, it's
Meeting's a little bit
you know,
behind because
we're a little behind. The weather, as some of us know, the first few weeks of this, the end of last month and the first couple weeks of this month have been challenging. But at least the report that I heard with my partner sitting next to me was there's cautious optimism that everything will be done. We might have to reschedule or move maybe that first home football game, but other than that, nothing crazy. So,
Sounds great.
yeah, we're on track.
Awesome, thank you. Mr. Missioner, do you have a question?
Yeah, real quick, and we're targeting, is it 24 or 25 for the next bond series?
So, the next bond series, that conversation, or that issue would be in 25, so probably spring of 25. And that'll be an ongoing conversation, of course, that, you know, we'll have to have and discussion with community members and things like that, but that's what we're looking at with our financial analyst right now.
Thank you, Mr. Missioner. Policy Committee had a administrative meeting, and we are continuing to go through policies, so keep your policy books. If you have extra time in your schedule, since we all don't have a lot going on, you can just read through those, because the next step will be one more administrative meeting to continue through the end of the policies. Then we will have a policy meeting of the whole, let's see if I have my dates right, on June 6th, I believe. And so that will be an opportunity for all board members to come together to kind of review all the policies minus the 2000. As we did tonight, we revised our board meeting schedule to accommodate for June 8th to be a work session, which we will look at the 2000 policies together, and then hopefully bring that to the full board during a board meeting for action and approval on June 15th. I think I got that all right. So that is what has been happening in the realm of policy. So, curriculum, no. Curriculum. Curriculum is Mr. Cook, and they had a curriculum meeting tonight, correct?
Yes. Yes, we spent a lot of time discussing the rollout of some of the literacy curriculum, well, not necessarily curriculum, but how how they're going to come up with the literacy curriculum, which is their kind of next big, I'd say, plantation they're going to try to harvest. Or plant they're trying to put in. We spent a lot of time talking about that and the process that they're going to go through and trying to get it rolled out for the 24 school year, 24-25 school year. And that is aggressive. We also spent some shock and awe time with ChatGPT and how it can be helpful to teachers, to students, to staff members, to non-instructional staff, to pretty much everybody, and how some of the stuff that is being looked at is kind of revolutionary, and how we talked about some of the areas where we might look at kind of utilizing the technology.
Great, thank you, Mr. Cook. And then we had one more meeting, and that was the Finance Committee meeting. I know that Mr. Kling had a lot to say today, but Mrs. Roney, if you have anything else to share, please.
No, basically the meeting went over what Devin went over today, so we're good.
And our next committee meeting will be Committee of the Whole, and it'll be on the 5th, correct? For review of the budget.
I have the 6th and I have policy of the 5th,
Okay,
but.
so that's probably right. That's why I was teetering. One
Okay,
of
yeah,
them is
it's
on
a
the
busy
5th.
week.
It's a busy week. So, okay. So Finance Committee of the Whole is on the 6th, and Policy Committee of the Whole is on the 5th, just for some clarity. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
I will keep my report very brief. I just want to reiterate the appreciation of the board for passing the contract tonight. Also extend, again, our thanks to the teachers on the team. I know 2 of them are sitting here tonight, but it was a great team effort, and we're excited to move forward with this foundation. I just also want to say that we're doing a lot of fun things this summer. We've got our summer reading dates that we're going to be doing again this year, but now we can plan for them properly. So working with our new principals at the elementary, we're going to do some really fun kickoffs in August. We also have a couple things that we're going to do with secondary kids related to leadership camps and things like that. So we're going to be announcing some summer plans over the next few weeks. Obviously, graduation is coming up here on June 1st. We have a lot of senior activities next week, and just an opportunity for hopefully parents who have seniors. I know, President Ruskin has 2 this year, and it's an opportunity for them to reflect and just really take the time to step back and celebrate what incredible children have come through our school system, and they're a part of our family, and we get to launch them into the world. So it's really kind of an amazing time of the year. So it's going to be awesome. So. I know.
Just awesome.
Panic
on your face
the
when you
world
said
a better place. And obviously, we have a lot of summer programming as well for our students that are, in need of some additional support and resources. And as Tim mentioned, we have Feed the Need going, as well as our incredible teaching and learning team, who's planned a variety of activities for our kids. So we're excited to engage in those. And very busy time of the year, but can't thank you enough for your support as a board of our staff and our work that we do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will move on to our administrative reports, and we'll start with Mr. Kling.
All right, thank you. I'll also keep it short. To those points, as the school year kind of winds down, the business office kind of winds up. So we've been pretty busy. We're conducting and finalizing our financial statements month by month, and we're obviously tying out this year's final budget and next year's preliminary budget based on a lot of the things that have been approved tonight. So with that being said, I also had an opportunity to tour the three major projects going on at Novi. So that's going to be Meadows, the high school, and then also the maintenance building, I'm sure you've seen. So we were all in Meadows this week. I had a pizza party from McCarthy and Smith that got a chance to kind of see the progress going on. A lot of the drywall went up, and now they're putting the light fixtures are up, and it's just crazy how fast things are moving now, and it's only going to keep getting faster. They're going to be hopefully occupying it by the summer, and I think everything's on schedule for that major project. Same with the operations building. If you guys noticed, the operations building went up. There is a slight delay based on consumer energy, but I think that shouldn't be a large delay, so that's also on time. The biggest item is going to be the high school, and that was mostly due to Mother Nature. We had a really wet spring. There's a lot of concrete being poured in that project, and it's kind of a step progression project where you have to pour concrete, wait for it to sit, move the structure in, pour more concrete, let it sit, move it in, and then eventually, when that last wall is poured, we will then start the foundation of the concession building. So slight delay there, but it shouldn't affect the football season, so they'll still be able to host. So
Great.
that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Dr. Carino?
Thank you. We just celebrated Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week last week, so I just wanted to recognize our amazing teachers and staff. Our PTOs spoiled them absolutely rotten. I'm on the building distribution list, and I kept getting emails of multiple luncheons and breakfast goodies and treats, and so they were definitely spoiled last week, and they deserve every bit of it, so thank you to all of them. Today is Speech and Language Pathologist Appreciation Day, and so just to recognize our speech and language pathologists for all the work that they do with our students. We have been very busy hiring, so obviously tonight was a testament to just the beginning of that. But we have our K through 6 elementary teacher posting that has been posted, and we began interviews this week. So we have a very strong applicant pool, and we'll begin next round interviews next week. So we are in a good position to bring candidates to you at the June board meeting, which is much earlier than we have in the past. So we're very excited that we will be able to hire much earlier in the hiring season and attain some excellent talent that's out there. Mike and I recently just had focus sessions with our staff on social, emotional, and academic supports to see what our teachers and staff thought we needed in the buildings. And so we are synthesizing that data, and we'll discuss in cabinet potential positions or kind of realigning different roles to be able to best support our students. I just really want to thank the NEA for a very, very highly collaborative negotiation process. It was really a privilege to partner with you, and we are very happy with the end product. We have started negotiations with our NTA unit, and we'll begin with NESPA and NASA next week. So we are in the throes of negotiations and hope to bring additional bargaining agreements to you in June. And finally, we had a great safety and security meeting with Jason Russell a few weeks ago. He came to our district and just had some additional conversation about our safety features, along with Julie and Sarah, our SROs. And so it was a great collaborative partnership with them. And our therapy dog application information went out today. And so I've been getting emails nonstop this evening about interested staff members who really would like one of 3 puppies. So we're super excited about all those things. And just lots of things going on in the Talent Management and Development Department. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carino. Mr. Giramini?
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. The Sex Ed Advisory Board is going strong. We had our last meeting on May 2nd. It took an extraordinarily deep dive into some of the community data that we had received from a survey a couple of years ago. And we're really going to focus our next meeting at the end of the month on establishing some goals and getting that work done so that we can move forward with reviewing curriculum and making some recommendations. Our district DEI team is meeting next week for another full-day work session to work on formalizing some goals and recommendations, and also to develop some guidance and expectations for our building level team so that we have some more alignment across those different groups. As Jennifer, our student representative, mentioned, our advanced placement exams have wrapped up, but I also want to add that our IB diploma program exams are nearing completion at NHS. These exams in both of these programs represent the culmination of a great deal of hard work on the part of our students, our staff, and our teachers. I just want to say congratulations to those who have wrapped up that testing, and good luck to those still testing. And finally, this is a fast-paced time of year for our students, our staff, our administrators, and I just want to echo the appreciation for all their efforts to finish the school year strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giramini. Okay, we will move.
President Ruskin?
Yes.
Real quick, question for Mr. Jeremy. When can the board expect to see the next presentation on MSTEP and iReady results that were just wrapped up the last couple weeks?
iReady's still going, and
Okay.
MSTEP wouldn't be till fall.
Okay, so we'll talk about that next school session. Okay.
Thank you. We will move on to board communication. I usually go last, but I think I'll go first today, just because. I really want to thank the team. The amount of work that the cabinet and, obviously the NEA negotiating team and the teachers, just from all of these, this is happening and that is happening, is pretty mind-blowing. So I really just think it's amazing that there is so much output being delivered. It's not just talking about it, but it's really, really, really inspiring to see your team and all the administrators and the staff here and the work that they do, because we had a lot on this agenda. It was super robust, but it's all super important, and then even to hear the report. So the transparency piece between your team and the board and giving us all the information that we really need to kind of approve these things, or at least delve into them and consider them, is really amazing. And just even this tentative agreement, having this packet here, with all the things in it, all the line items that were agreed upon, and, all the schedules in here and the Schedule B, and I'm not sure we ever saw all that, and we have it, and it's just really incredible, so that we are all working together and at the same pace, and that when staff is talking about something that they are happy with or maybe unhappy with, that we as a team are really part of the district and understanding what those concerns and questions and happiness is all about. So I really, really appreciate the 4 of you and the NEA team. Do you, Dr. Carino or Mr. Micah, will you please let us know who was on that bargaining team? Because I know that we mentioned a few people, but I just want to make sure that everybody was given the proper due work that was done, because I know it was really a nice group of administrators who worked on the district end and maybe on the NEA end.
Sure, I'm happy to share. So it was the 4 cabinet members, as well as Nicole Carter, the principal at Novi High School, John Brickey, Novi Meadows principal, David Asher, and then Jeff Dinkelman, and I think
That's it?
Yeah, and then, don't know that I can go through everybody, but we had Matt Burry, Heather Burnside, Megan Allen, Liz Gribbelow, Kim Osmondson,
and then Grab.
And Grab Dalton.
Perfect.
A lot of people.
Yes. So that's great, and I think that that's just a testament to the creativity and the minds in that room to come up with such a great product. So thank you again. So any other board members, Mr. Cook?
Yeah, I had a couple of opportunities to get out and see some of the events. I'll start with the Meadows Choir Concert. Sixth grade Meadows got to go over to the middle school and sing. They actually had 4 full choirs just of sixth graders. The middle school choir joined them for one tune, and they had to split that into 2 nights to get all the choirs to sing in there, and actually 4 events, because they all sang the same thing anyways. The other thing I got to was the high school choir concert, as our student member, Jennifer, mentioned. What she didn't mention was our high school choir director went out on maternity leave, and so the accompanist took over. So not only was she directing the choir, but she was accompanying the choir as she went along. She did an outstanding job of getting all 5 groups ready for it and kept it going. And then last night I happened to be at the middle school for a lacrosse game when a street party broke out over at Deerfield. So I kind of crashed the party for a little bit with the kids running all over the place, and it looked like all the families there were having a good time. Not only was that going on, but the robotics were in the middle school. So we had 3 events in that one little area going at one time, and fortunately everything went off without a hitch. So other than the lacrosse team lost. But so.
Sounds good. It sounds like you've been busy, making your way around. Mr. Bennett?
Yeah, this Tuesday, we hosted a pretty cool track meet at the high school that we have annually. It's called the JV Invitational. We have close to 300 kids on our track team, boys and girls. And this is a meet that was set up by our coaches many, many years ago. And what it does is it gives our kids who don't have the opportunity to compete at the regional level an opportunity to get in one more race to get their times in. And we had, Novi had 200 of their 300 kids participate, and we had another 400 kids from, another 300 kids from 7 other schools participate. So that was a pretty cool event. And then next Wednesday, I should say, we're doing something that we started doing quite a few years ago, and we're actually hosting at the high school the Novi Middle School's last track meet. So we're giving those kids an opportunity to get a real good feel for what it's like to run in the high school venue. So looking forward to that one next week. I think Novi Middle School will be hosting McBride Middle School out of Belleville. So.
Nice. What time is that?
I believe that starts at 4 o'clock.
Because the parade is at 6, so it'll be a little busy time over there.
It's gonna be.
Mrs. Bodwine?
Well, I also attended that choir concert and was quite impressed. I think we've got some wonderful talent coming up, so I'm excited to see some of those voices as they mature, because it was quite impressive, and they're all very young still. And then I also just wanted to acknowledge that I believe, and you correct me if I am wrong, Mrs. Burnside, but I believe we've got 15 days left of school. Is that? I think we're at 15.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And that is a very small number, and I'm quite excited about that as a parent, and I know that all of our teachers and students are very excited about the summer coming as well. So everybody hang in there and, try to get through. We're almost there. Great job.
Mrs. Roney?
Just a real quick thing, we had a board roundtable on the 9th. Me, Willie, and Jason were there, and a few parents, and it was kind of nice. And we do have the next one on June 1st at 8:30 in the morning. So hopefully we'll get lots of attendees. And I think that's it. Other than Feed the Need, you can sign up online. You fill out a background check, and then you can pick things you want to do.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mrs. Roney. Mr. Mishner?
So yeah, definitely, the board roundtables are a really nice venue. We get to have a conversation with the community, so if you have anything you want to talk to board members about, it's a great time to come and actually talk to us and engage in whatever's on your mind. And Marianne's right, the very last one of the year is this June 1st, 8:30 to 10. I got the pleasure to participate with the Deerfield seniors in their third of four. Their last thing is just the last day of school clap out, so their last big event at Paradise Park. It was really cool to see all the kids run around and be able to spend one last cool event with just them as fourth graders in their school. And also the street party at Deerfield was the Spring Fling, which was also really well attended, and just a big thank you to the Deerfield PTO and all the staff that also helped support that event. All the kids loved it. I mean, when else can you get your entire school to participate in a 2-hour-long plus recess together? I think there was a lot of cool things, but the biggest attraction was the playground. And I think it's really cool also on a side note that the district continues to invest in keeping our elementary school playgrounds, because it was just a really good reminder of what a community builder that is. And I'm sure all of our elementary school playgrounds will be utilized quite a lot in the summertime as parents look for activities to occupy their children with tons of energy with. And then for VO, they're having their multicultural day, their very first tomorrow, 5 to 7. Regrettably, I won't be able to make it. I wanted to, but they're very excited. I hope for great attendance. It should be a really amazing event from everything that I've heard. And then for all the elementary school parents with fourth graders, this is our last board meeting before the big clap out for all our elementary schools. So congratulations to all of our fourth grade class of, this is crazy, 2031. Clap out for you guys. Job well done. And looking forward to the clap out at Deerfield coming up. And so thank you for that, and happy summer, I guess, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Missioner. Anybody else? No? Okay. Two things, I'm really sorry. I know Tom's gonna like give me the evil eye over here if I say more and it's after 9:30. Sorry, Tom. I did get to attend the, I forgot about this until you started talking about the choir. I did get to attend the dance performance at the Novi High School. It was actually fantastic. It was the Novi Dance Company and all the dance classes. So I'll be honest and transparent. I thought I was going to watch my kiddo dance and I was going to scoot out because it was a 2.5-hour event, and I did not leave. I was so enamored with like the talent and the kids and the way that the dance teacher put together an opportunity for the seniors to all have a solo dance and to recognize them. Not the kiddos in the dance class who's maybe in like beginning dance 1, but the kids who have really committed their entire at least high school careers to that art. So it was lovely to see. I did get to go to Orchard Hills yesterday, and I'm going to Deerfield next Wednesday because I was invited to see a few of the NEF grants in action. So that was fun. I showed up yesterday when the kids showed up, and the NEF grant that I was there to observe was some manipulatives in the first grade team. So the teachers have the kiddos come in and do some, they're given, all these manipulatives to play with, and it kind of just gets their sillies out before school starts and gives them an opportunity to tell about their evening, and, just really, it's almost like recess before school happens, but it's really ingenious because the kids don't just come in and get straight to work and then struggling to pay attention and to focus. So it's something that the NEF supported, and the kids really seem to appreciate it, and I think it's good for the teachers to really get their kids focused before they start. So that was great, and there are lots of senior things happening, so I will not bore you with the crying mama speech over here, Mr. Missioner, but wait till your son over there is graduating from high school and going out into the real world without his Novi safety net, and then we'll talk. So anyway, so thank you for everybody who stuck around this evening, and for all the work that's been done, and for the board and the cabinet's engagement. So if I can get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Do we have support?
Support.
Recommended by Mr. Smith and supported by Mr. Missioner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.